It never fails. Hi, my name is Courtney, and I'm very passionate about helping women with invisible illnesses realize that you can still lead a pretty healthy and active lifestyle. It's just not going to be the one that you had envisioned for yourself, but time marches on. It doesn't wait for anybody, so you better figure it the hell out. I have been MIA a lot lately, and it really bothers me because I like to be consistent, and these mean a lot to me. These mean a lot to me because I get really good feedback from people. Hey, you really helped me when you said this. In fact, one of the coolest messages I got was from a friend back home. A while back, she messaged me and told me that listening to me discuss what it's like dealing with chronic illness and chronic pain has helped her understand her husband and his situation a lot better. And honestly, that's one of the best compliments I've ever received. So that's why I do these, and that's why I like to be consistent. But, but there is a medication that the doctors in Alaska had wanted me to take, and I said, no, not doing it. But then I got here to Texas, and I had two specialists, a rheumatologist and a pain specialist, both encouraged me, you really should take this. Well, I thought, what the hell, right? I mean, how famous last words, how bad could it be? I mean, if it would have helped, it would have been freaking amazing, truly. But it did not help. It did not help. It did just the opposite. In fact, I have not been this miserable in a long, long time. I did not miss it, in case you were wondering. Um, I had pretty much every side effect, and it was kind of funny because I the last straw, I kept getting worse and worse and worse, and then insomnia is a big part of it, and nightmares. And when things got to the point where this is just crazy, but I was afraid to go to sleep at night because I was having such crazy, vivid nightmares. So I emailed the doctor's office, and I'm like, no, this ain't working. This ain't working for me. Um, I try to be an educated and informed consumer, and I read up on the side effects of this. Now, again, granted, nobody knew that this was going to happen. Nobody had any way of knowing that my body was going to respond to this medication the way that it did. But I have been absolutely freaking miserable for the last 6 weeks or so. And I had to taper off of it. I took my last one Saturday. Technically, I'm supposed to take one more Wednesday. But I'm not taking it because I fail to see how missing one pill is going to make me feel any worse than taking it is going to make me feel. But that means discussing the emotional impact of chronic pain is a good topic to bring up again because I've been up to freaking here with it lately. And it's been frustrating because I was managing my fibromyalgia and the Hashimoto's. I was managing them pretty well before I started taking the medication, and it's like all bets have been off. So let's talk about this. And most of this, by the way, is my own information because I've lived with this stuff for so long. According to Psychology Today, 100 million Americans deal with chronic pain. Now, there's no hard data out there regarding suicide. At least there wasn't a couple years ago when I looked all this up. But people who suffer from chronic pain are believed to be twice as likely as the healthy population to commit suicide. That's a pretty staggering statistic. And here's the thing, it's not just the physical aspects of it. It's emotionally, it's just devastating. It is so draining. The ubiquitous they, as I like to say, they say a good day for somebody like me is like you having the flu body aches. Well, how productive were you the last time you had the flu body aches? Probably not very. A not very good day for me, you'll either understand this or you won't, but the best description I have ever heard for a fibromyalgia flare is a full body migraine. I get extraordinarily light and smell sensitive. Everything on my body will hurt. In fact, when I emailed the doctor's office, the nurse, I was like, and I'm having this side effect and that side effect and the body aches. And she wrote me, I was really kind of funny. I was like, seriously, that was your takeaway from my list, my laundry list of symptoms? And she said, well, body aches are not a side effect of Cymbalta. Okay, maybe they're not. But don't you think that all the stress that this has put my body under is probably contributing to my body aches? Just maybe. Anyway, sometimes the things that even the medical community says to me is just like, what the hell are you even talking about? But I have been so achy, I can't sleep at night. Well, how the hell can you sleep when you lay down and your body tightens up? Everything locks up. I get paresthesia, which is kind of that pins and needles feeling you get when a limb falls asleep, but it's super intense. And I get that in both of my quads. And I get my IT bands, which run down the outside of your leg from your hip to just above your knee. It's a big band of connective tissue. And mine will get incredibly tight to the point where it feels like someone's jammed a steel rod. I know that sounds so dramatic, but it feels like someone's jammed a hot steel rod down the side of my leg. Well, how much sleep do you think I can get when I'm feeling like that? And it can even get to the point, and I know this sounds crazy, but it can even get to the point where my hair hurts. What? I know. And it's not like my hair hurts, but hurts isn't really the right word. But when I turn my head, if I'm really flaring, when I turn my head, I can feel my hair moving on my scalp. And I got to tell you, it's a really weird, uncomfortable sensation because it's just not something that you're used to feeling. The clothing that I wear can hurt. In fact, I saw a thing today. Well, women shouldn't wear yoga pants unless they're around their husband or going to the gym. Dude, first of all, I'll wear whatever the hell I want because I'm a grown ass woman. Second of all, I wear yoga pants because, you know why? Because they're comfortable, because there's something I can dress up or dress down. I can look nice and still be comfortable because often just the pressure of my clothes on my skin is extremely painful. Now, if you're the person who's dealing with all of this, you're probably really pissed off sometimes. You're probably really sad sometimes. You know what? You're entitled to that. You're entitled to be as pissed off as you want to be. You know what else? You're entitled to grieve because your life has taken one hell of a bizarre turn. And there's not a lot you can really, yes, there are things you can do to manage it, but there's not a lot you can really do about the situation at the end of the day. It is what it is. So you're entitled to all these feelings. But the thing is, you can't live there. You can't stay there. You need to be really aware that what you put out into the world is what you're going to get back. And believe me, I spent years feeling really freaking sorry for myself and just being furious with the world because why is this happening to me? Well, why not? Why the hell not me? Why would I be exempt from life? These things just happen. So you got to be aware of that, especially when you're dealing with high pain days. And people ask me often, how can you deal with this and be positive? Well, you know how? Because I work at it. I do. I put a lot of work in on trying to maintain my attitude. And so this is how I do it. First, you got to find positive influences. Sorry, I'm fidgety, which is kind of a common thing, but get some good books. I used to laugh at self-help books, but I'll tell you what, they've made a huge difference for me. Some of my favorite books, You're a Badass by Jen Sincero. If you've never read stuff like this, Life's Golden Ticket by Brendon Burchard is a nice, lightweight, easy introduction to this kind of stuff. The 15 Irrefutable Laws of Growth. I think I have that. I always get that damn title wrong, but I think that's right. The Bible is a great book. I have one I'm reading now called Draw the Circle. It's a 40-day prayer challenge. I've really enjoyed that. There's a great book about trauma called The Body Keeps the Score. It's a great book, but I will warn you, it's very heavy and it can be hard to get through, not because of the jargon, but because of the stories that are in it about the trauma that this doctor treated, the things that some of these people have been through. But I will tell you, it made a huge difference for me. You got to find positive influences. Oh, my friend Doug Fitzgerald wrote a great book about goal setting and achieving called One Shot, One Life. I highly recommend that. Find podcasts to listen to. Chalene Johnson does a good podcast. Brendan Burchard does a good podcast. Stephanie Lynn Coaching, YouTube. Above Inspiration is one of my favorites. Trent Shelton does a great uplifting, YouTube. He doesn't do a YouTube channel. He has a YouTube channel. But just find somebody, just because those are the people that I like, that doesn't mean you're going to like them. And you don't have to. Just find a positive influence. Spend a few minutes every day immersing yourself in something positive. Morning is best. I'll be honest, I don't always do it in the morning. I'm really good about doing it at night. But just take even 10, 15 minutes a day and immerse yourself in something positive, because it helps you build that habit of being positive. I said positive way too many times there. You need to develop healthy habits. You got to exercise. Now, I know if you got health issues, I know what you're thinking, because I know what I thought when someone told me this a long time ago. But I'll tell you what, without fail, every single person who deals with fibromyalgia, that's my biggest, I don't want to say problem. That's my biggest concern. So it's my wheelhouse. That's what I know the best. And I've had a lot of women, and it's been mostly women because we're the ones that usually get fibromyalgia. But over the years, I've encouraged a lot of women. Look, I'm not telling you to get up and do insanity. In fact, you shouldn't. You shouldn't do anything too strenuous, because it stresses your body more than you can recover from if you've got a lot of health issues. I learned that the hard way. But you know what? You can go for a walk. You can do some gentle yoga. You can do some Tai Chi. Just move. You've got to move. People ask me often, how can I exercise? I love my fitness. I love it. It makes me so happy. And people ask me, how can you do that when you don't feel good? Well, because you know what? Sometimes that window is the only time of my day where I feel like I have control. It's the only time of my day where what I do now, my primary workout now is belly dancing. I took that up when I had to give up cardio kickboxing because it's too strenuous for me. And at first I was devastated, but it's been really cool. Because when I dance, I'm not a very good dancer. I don't have to be. I dance here alone. I got a Patreon channel that I follow. The coolest lady from Australia. I just love her to death. But when I dance, it's not that the pain goes away, but I'm able to set it into the back of my mind more. I'm able to escape all the BS that goes along with dealing with chronic pain. Exercise has so many physical and emotional benefits. You should meditate. Meditation is a tremendous gift. And, it's going to help you deal with the stress of chronic pain. There's mantra meditations. There's guided meditations. There's breathing meditations. There's walking meditations. There are so many different kinds of meditations out there that you just got to find what works for you. Now, it's probably not going to be a one and done. You're probably going to have to look around a little bit. But I'm going to tell you, it'll make a huge difference in your life. You should keep a journal. You should keep a journal because it's a healthy way to help you process and deal with unpleasant emotions. Gratitude. Find 3 things every day, Find 3 things every day to be grateful for. And you know what? I remember when I started this, I was not in a very good emotional space. And okay, you know what? I have a roof over my head. I have running water and I have electricity. Those 3 things put you ahead of millions of people on this planet. Those are things we take for granted in our society, and we really shouldn't, because think back, it wasn't that long ago. None of these things were common. Be grateful that you have them. Personally, I highly recommend that you finish your journal entry with 3 things that you're grateful for every day. For me, especially if I'm struggling and I've got just all this unpleasant crap that I've just put out on my journal page. And it's nice because that helps me get it off my chest, but now it's fresh in my mind because I just went through it all again. So if I take a moment and write down 3 things that I'm grateful for, it's like it flips a switch. and it quiets. It's like, okay, so all this crazy crap happened today that I'm not happy about. However, I have a roof over my head, I have running water, and I have electricity. And it just enables me to shut that part of, I don't say shut it down, but to just quiet that part of my mind. It helps me go to sleep better. You need to celebrate your wins every single day. Yes, the small ones. You know why? Because you don't get big wins very often, especially if you're dealing with a lot of health issues. Did you get up and brush your teeth today? Do you realize that that's a win? Do you know? I have a friend who's a dental hygienist, and I was talking to her one day years ago, and I was like, maybe I should go to school for dental hygiene. And she was like, yeah, you couldn't handle this job. I was like, what? It's kind of offended. Like, what the hell do you mean I couldn't? Why don't you think I could handle this? And she said, because I know how you are about these things. And she said, you would be amazed at the number of people who come in and sit in this chair who never brush their teeth. So if you made that decision today, especially if you feel like absolute death warmed over, you should be celebrating that fact at the end of the day, because you did something that people who are healthier than you choose not to do for whatever reason, which, please brush your teeth for goodness sakes. If you've got health issues and you manage to stay home from work, if you're able to work, if you manage to take a sick day and you don't sit there and berate yourself about it, that's a win. Hell, for me, that's not a small win. For me, that's a huge win, because I take my job responsibilities very seriously. And when I cannot meet my obligation, it stresses me the hell out. Which, side note, I wish that people were more understanding of what remote work means for their employees who have severe illnesses and or disabilities, because there have been a lot of days in the last 2 years where I would have never made it out of the front door to the office. But I can crawl out of bed and into where we're in this place, my laptop's in my dining area. I can crawl out here and I can put in a productive day. And you guys don't have any idea, the emotional value of being able to be productive when you feel like hell. Because a lot of times it's just so hard for me to take a day off. And I don't allow myself to rest because it's, oh my gosh, and I should be doing this, and I've got that going on at work, and oh, who's going to take care of this if I don't? I have a little bit of presenteeism, I think they call it. Anyway, if you can manage to take the day off and not berate yourself, that's a tremendous win. Did you make something healthy for yourself to eat? That's a win. You've got to celebrate these things. For me, getting dressed nicely, putting my makeup on, it makes me feel better. Is it shallow? I don't know. Maybe it is. I don't give a shit. You know why I don't care? Because it makes me feel better. It's a sense of normalcy for me. So even on days when I'm not leaving the house, I generally, not always, but I generally put my makeup on because of how it makes me feel. And because I am sitting down to work for the day, and I want to feel that mind shift from, okay, I might feel crappy today, but I'm going to sit down and be productive. And part of that normalcy is putting my face on. If you're dealing with a lot of health issues, you got to learn to let things go. I'm really bad about this. God, I'm the queen of rumination. But you cannot beat yourself up over what you cannot do. You know why? Because this you can do it all is the biggest load of crap that we've ever been sold. That is such a lie. Healthy people can't have it all. Everything in life is about choices. If you make choice A, then you can't do choice B. It's that simple. I think it just becomes a little more apparent when you're dealing with health issues. Sometimes those choices they're just ridiculous. Am I going to clean my bathroom, or am I going to be in bed for 2 days? And yes, sometimes it's really like that. Isn't that insane? You know what else you need to let go of? You've got to let go of negative people. If people don't lift you up, you have got to let go of them. You don't have the reserves. You have enough to do to keep your own chin above water. You can't afford to have somebody dragging you down like a freaking anchor. Cut the rope. You cannot give your power away. You can't. Hell, healthy people shouldn't do that. But if you've got health issues, you literally cannot afford to do that. Finally, you've got to remember you need to be kind to yourself. You need to be kind to others, even when they don't deserve it. Healthy people are going to say crappy things to you. They just are. It is what it is. They don't understand. Most of them don't try to. And that's on them. You can't accept that. You can't take that burden on yourself. Sorry, it's a little gnat in here. The damn gnats in Texas drive me nuts. That being said, I really like that it's super warm. But you can't give your power away to people. You can't. You don't have enough energy to spare. You've got to be kind to yourself. And I went backwards. Be kind to others. You need to remember. I got to tell you, this thought is the only thing that's kept me going the past several weeks. This too shall pass. It will pass. I have yet to have a flare that has not passed eventually. I will also tell you that this Cymbalta crap this has been the longest I have felt completely horrid in, I think, ever. Truly, it has been brutal. And honestly, that's why I didn't do videos a whole lot lately, because I was having a hard time seeing that this was going to pass. And oh my God, I felt so crappy. Last thing I'm going to say on this, I'm going to get off here. You got to remember, and this can be very hard, you are not your illness. You are not your diagnosis. Yes, it's a big part of your life. Absolutely. It has to be. But you're more than that. You're more than fibromyalgia. You're more than Hashimoto's. You're more than insert illness here. It's so easy. It's so easy to let that shit become your identity when your whole life is medical appointment after medical appointment. You've got no social life at all because you feel horrible and you're at the doctor all the time. And if you're like me and you're lucky enough to be healthy enough to work, you're completely spent at the end of the day. You don't have anything left. It's so easy to let that become your identity. You've got to make the effort to stay positive. You've got to make the effort to recognize that, okay, yeah, this is obviously it's a significant part of my life, but it's not who I am. Because this stuff will consume you if you don't make that decision. Anyway, I am so freaking exhausted, y'all. So I am going to go, and I've rambled at you long enough anyway. Look, I'm not an expert. I'm not a shrink. I'm not a doctor, but I'm someone who's lived with this crap for a really long time. So if you're struggling with health issues, or if you have a loved one who is, and you're trying to figure out how to relate to them better, drop me a line. I try to be very responsive, and I'll do what I can to help you, because you're not alone in this. There's millions of us out there who are dealing with this. You can't completely dismiss it, certainly, but you can't let it run your life. Anyway, rambling. Y'all have a great night. I will be back Wednesday at 7:00 Central.